Hey, what's up? Hello, my name is Emma, and today I am doing the Pride Flag book tag. If you are unaware, June is Pride Month, where we celebrate all of the wonderful gender and sexual diversity our world has to offer. I've been doing a few LGBTQ plus themed videos every year for Pride Month for the last couple of years, so if you want to check out my initial video full of recommendations, as well as some underrated books, I will link those two videos down below. But this year we are switching it up a little bit, and I am going to be doing the Pride Flag book tag, which was originally created by Common and Spence. I will link his channel down below, and I really recommend you go check his videos out. Spencer is truly one of my favorite booktubers, and I think he seriously deserves more attention. And I'm super excited to finally be uploading this video because I actually filmed the Pride Flag book tag last year, like right after Spencer posted it, but I broke my light in the middle of filming, so I decided to trash the footage. But we are here, we are queer, and we are ready to do this book tag. Now, if you watch Spencer's original video, he goes into a super awesome history lesson about how the colors of the pride flag came to be. No, we did not just wake up one day and decided rainbow means gay. Each of the colors actually carry their own significant meaning, and so the 6 questions of this tag are inspired by the meanings behind each of these 6 colors. Just to tell you a quick story before we jump in, we were actually talking about the pride flag in my developmental class that I'm taking over the summer currently. One of the group presentations we were doing actually had an activity that was inspired by each of the meanings behind all of the colors, and my gay professor, who has done a ton of research into LGBT individuals, actually didn't know that each of the colors had a different meaning, and I got to be like, I knew this a year ago because of Spencer's tag. I was very pleased, but enough about me, let's jump into the tag. The first color of the pride tag is red, and it represents life. So choose a book with a spirited protagonist that is totally proud of who they are, someone who gives you life. I, of course, have to choose Denna and Mare from Of Fire and Stars by Audrey Coulthurst. This book follows a princess who is forced to hide her magical powers when she is betrothed to the prince of a neighboring kingdom, and when she arrives there to prepare for her wedding, she ends up falling in love with the prince's sister. One thing I've always treasured about Of Fire and Stars is that it is a fantasy world where homophobia does not exist. So this story is scandalous, not because 2 girls have fallen in love, but because Denna has fallen in love with her fiance's sister. Denna and Mare are just like such perfect soulmates. They complement one another so well, whereas Denna is a little bit more practical and conservative, and Mare is very fiery and rebellious, and they just really bring out the best in one another. It is such a steamy romance. Oh my goodness. Like, I always look at Of Fire and Stars as a sort of game changer for me in the way that I viewed romance in books, because I realized the level of chemistry and just electricity a couple can transmit to readers, and now I will not accept anything less. It is an absolute favorite of mine with a really rich world, some fantastic characters, and there is a sequel coming out this August, so if you have not picked it up yet, it is the perfect time. The next color of the pride tag is orange, which represents healing. So choose a book that made you as a reader find deeper meaning or catharsis in your own life. For this one, I absolutely have to go with The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I'm sure you have heard about this book already because BookTube is so obsessed with it, but it is another all-time favorite of mine as well. This book follows a 1950s Hollywood starlet named Evelyn Hugo, who has become very private in the years since leaving the film industry, but has decided to share her life story with a lowly journalist. So we learn about Evelyn's experiences as a queer woman of color trying to make it in the film industry, and explains all of the history behind the 7 husbands she had and what happened between all of them. This is just one of those novels that is so impactful and influential. I do not have the words to describe it. All I know is that I started and ended this book as different people, and I am much happier with the person I am because I read this book. Don't let my praise fool you. Evelyn is an extremely complex and flawed character who has made a ton of mistakes in her lifetime, but it is just her overall presence and personality that inspired me to be super reflective on what I want in my life and how I am going to achieve it. She's so authentic, it's difficult to remember that she's not actually a real person, but I have just learned so much from her in terms of success and love and loyalty and self-worth, and I'm eternally grateful for this story. Color number 3 is yellow, which represents sunshine. So choose a book that fills you up with so much joy it could brighten your darkest day. For this, I'm going to go with a book I know I mention a lot, and it's just because I feel it deserves it, and that is Ace of Shades by Amanda Foody. This is a magical story about a girl named N who travels to the scandalous city of Sin in search of her mother who has gone missing, where her only lead is a gangster and crime lord named Levi who is involved in a scam that's going badly. Also, just to mention, as all of the books I'm talking about in this tag do feature characters from the LGBTQ+ community, Levi is bisexual, and I just really appreciate his representation and storyline. Ace of Shades is just a very striking story. It stands out far beyond a lot of books that I feel are being published lately. It has great writing, strong characterization, fabulous storytelling, and an extremely complex magical system. It is fun and wicked and entertaining and political, and I am just filled with such a passion when I talk about this series. Reading Ace of Shades was such a pleasure, and then I just recently finished the sequel, which was just mind-blowing and like so much bigger and better than I even could have expected the story to get. I feel like this series just reverts me to like 17, 18-year-old Emma, who was such a huge fangirl and just like lived and breathed the story she loved. And just that's how I feel about the series, so if you haven't picked it up yet, you really should give it a try. The 4th color of the Pride tag is green, which represents nature. So choose a book that is set out of this world or in a reality different from our own. For this one, I have to choose The Diviners by Libri, which is set in 1920s New York City, but it features a variety of diverse characters that all have different supernatural abilities. I know The Diviners has like some die-hard fans out there like myself, but like I still feel like there's not enough people who talk about it. It is so authentic to the glamorous setting, but there's also some serious dark elements that are thrown in there that make it a super well-rounded story. The characters are so great and multidimensional. There's a lot of different representation in this book. There's various different people of color. There's Black characters, there's Asian characters, there's a gay character and a sexual character, a disabled character, an immigrant character, a Jewish character. It just has one of the most eclectic casts, and they are all so fantastic and so much fun to read about. The romances are so swoony, and the different paranormal elements are really enticing. It is perfect. I feel like it's flawless. I literally have never said a bad word about The Diviners, and I don't think it deserves any. It is truly a one-of-a-kind series. Book 4 is on the horizon. It is coming out very soon, so if you haven't picked up The Diviners yet, like, it's a really good time to, and I guarantee you will enjoy it. The 5th color of the Pride tag is blue, which represents peace. So pick a book where one of the characters finds peace with a difficult truth. For this one, I'm going to go with a very notable LGBT book for myself, and that is How to Make a Wish by Ashley Herring Blake. This novel follows a bisexual girl named Grace who finds herself in the midst of like a perfect summer romance while also dealing with her difficult relationship with her mother. The publisher actually sponsored a spoiler-free review of this book a couple of years ago when I first read it, and I feel like that review is just such a perfect representation of all of my thoughts, so I'll link it down below if you want to check it out. Not only do I adore the romance, but I really love the strong themes of friendship in this story, and just the relationship between Grace and her best friend Luca are just super raw and real, and the family dynamics in this book are just outstanding. The relationship between Grace and her mother, who is an alcoholic, is just so freaking powerful, and I just feel feel their whole story is told in the most perfect, realistic way. Grace is very torn because on the one hand, it has only ever been her and her mother facing the world together, and she, of course, feels a certain sense of responsibility and dedication for her with all of her mother's problems. But that makes her blind to a lot of the toxic and harmful situations she's put in, so Grace has to go through a lot of self-reflection and growth in order to overcome these current issues in this book. Also, this book gets really dark and heavy, so make sure you are prepared for a super emotional read going in. It is truly a beautiful exploration of identity, friendship, love, family, and addiction. I feel like it's super underrated, but if you are looking for more queer books to read, especially this June and all year long, this is definitely one you should put on your list. And the final color of the LGBTQ+ pride flag is purple, which represents spirit. So choose a book that deals with LGBT themes and religion. Now, I have seen a lot of booktubers do the pride flag book tag, and I feel like almost everyone chooses Autobiography by Christina Lauren for this question because it is this story of a gay teen living in a Mormon community, so it is very fitting for this question. But if y'all are interested in that, why haven't more of you read Release by Patrick Ness? Release is a novel that takes place over the span of one day, and it follows a gay boy named Adam who comes from a very intolerant and unaccepting evangelical family. So Release follows a very significant day in Adam's life when he's managing a lot of different things, like a breakup that is still causing him a lot of pain and coming out to his family. This is another pretty intense book because it deals with a lot of severe homophobia and sexual assault. It definitely may be hard to read for some people, but I feel like it delves into so many complex topics in such a short period of time, and they are all accomplished really well. The only thing I don't really like about Release is that it has like this weird supernatural twist going on throughout the story that just makes me say, what? It is weird, I don't get it, it feels very out of place, but like everything that is going on with Adam in this story and himself, his friends, his boyfriend, his family is all constructed really well, and it's absolutely worth a read. So that concludes my version of the Pride Flag book tag. I really hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure you support queer books and queer authors this June, but also all year long. And if you have any recommendations of books you've read with some LGBT themes that you've really enjoyed recently, I would love to hear them in the comments below. I am going to tag absolutely anyone who wants to do the Pride Flag book tag this Pride Month. It's a fun tag that's meaningful and has some really interesting, unique questions to talk about, so I'd highly recommend you give it a shot. But that is it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you soon for a new one. Bye!